Hello everyone. Today we're going to be discussing something a little different than lore. It's been something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I figured I'd put it out here. So one of the biggest pet peeves I have is science deniers. People that actively choose ignorance versus learning. And it's not just that it's a pet peeve because people are vocal and obsessively um, rhetorical about it. It's because it's dangerous. It starts dangerous, it ends deadly. There are very few times where it's okay to choose ignorance. Something horrible happens to your friend, you can choose not to hear the story about it. That's okay. However, denying that the world is round leads down a rabbit hole. Because once you start denying basic common sense, you start opening yourself up to, well, if that's fake, then everything else I know is fake. It's repeated itself over and over throughout, well, human history, but more of a prevalence with the digital age. Starting with the basics. When you have a group that actively comes out and is screaming everything's fake, the correct thing to do to move forward as a society, if they're not willing to listen and they're not willing to look at the facts and relearn the basics, then ridicule them into obscurity. Don't feel bad about it. They chose stupid. It's our job to remind them. As a society, we step forward at the pace of our slowest members, not the other way around. And our slowest members need the most help. Choosing to actively drag back progress hurts those slowest members. Because once, again, you start denying provable, easy to learn facts, you start getting into anti vaccine movements. You start getting into chemtrail movements. Uh, Moving off the subject of just blatant harm, you get into social harassment. You start getting stuff like the transfiguration or transvigation movements that just harass people for being different or to look different, or harassing people because they don't fit what that particular person thinks a person should look like. It affects celebrities, it affects regular people, anyone that comes out to, like, a public domain is subject to these idiots out there. And again, I understand that bridging a gap is important, and that sometimes it's best to reach the hand out to help them. And I will definitely, if they're willing to do that, I will definitely reach my hand out and help them learn. But I refuse to call them by anything but what they are: idiots. Stupid, blatant, abject deniers of fact. That's not. It's unfortunate that it has to come to something like that. I prefer not to just call someone stupid because they disagree with me, but I prefer to point out where they're dumb at. And in this one, it's basic trigonometry. You can prove the earth is round with people with sticks and shadows miles apart, calling them, talking to them. And you can get a rough estimation of the actual planet's surface to a reasonable degree with just sticks and measuring tape and trigonometry, which we teach 12-year-old children. Unfortunately, you'll still have people that deny that that's a thing. When we've come out and tried to explain to people that the moon landing is real, You have abject deniers saying that that couldn't have happened because they don't believe how it would happen. That's an odd statement to take, is your denial of science and inability to grasp the, the methodologies behind it should somehow disapprove or disallow the achievements made by human beings, which is just silly. That's like telling people that aliens built the pyramid. It sounds cool and all that, but in reality, that takes away from the human effort that was put into building such magnificent structures. It takes away from us as a society to deny those people their achievements. To beat a dead horse, if you will, if you can't come up with a model to disprove something, or to prove your model beyond a shadow of a doubt, then it's not really worth investigating. If you have zero evidence of something, but a gut feeling tells you so, well, sorry, it sucks to be you. That's not how the world works. It's like hearing stories. I grew up in the South, and hearing over and over that people were abusing the welfare system, that illegal aliens were getting welfare and SNAP benefits and EBT cards, and it's just not true. You had a few people, yes, a few hundred out of a couple 100,000. That makes up for less than 1%. It's been proven over and over through various studies, which I can link below in the comments, that that's just not how that works. We're wasting time on stuff like that because people are using their gut feelings instead of hard, provable science. We had, in the United States, a group dedicated to disproving the world, to shattering all the real boundaries of the place and waking people up. And I'm not just talking about the Flat Earth movement, I'm talking about the hard Christian right movement, that the world will end like it has been ending for the past 500 years. They want it to end. They don't want to keep going with it, because to continue on with this world, to continue on believing in science, is hard. It means you have to contribute. You can't just wish it away. And that's sort of what this boils down to, is it's hard to grasp some things. And math is hard for some people. I myself have dyscalculia, and I love math. And it sucks because I have to keep doing it over and over in my head to make it work right, and then I have to double check it on paper. But it's so interesting, and it's so much fun once you learn how the world really works. And it's such a comforting thought to me that we're a small group of advanced anxiety ridden primates on a mediocre planet spinning around a small star at the corner of a backwater galaxy out of a local cluster of billions of galaxies. That's so comforting to know that no matter how badly I can screw up my life, it won't affect that vast universe. But you have the other people that deny that we can do anything about this gigantic universe. And we're destined to be on this, in their minds, small plate ball until an undetermined sky daddy pulls us up to the sky. Which, to each their own on their belief system, but if it actively harms people, that's the problem here. We can't just let that kind of attitude roll over. Yes, you personally might think that it's stupid to continue on learning sciences and to advance us to the point where we have a pure global economy, or where we can convert solar power into fresh water via desalination plants. Because you think we're not going to be here for too much longer. This generation's it. That's bad. That's a bad attitude to have. And I can't explain it to people that that's fundamentally flawed and dishonest. Just because you want to feel special doesn't mean you screw out your grandkids or your kids. What you do is you leave the world a better place. You advance as much as you can toward the future and hope it works out. That's how society has always progressed, is we take a baby step forward and a baby step forward. We didn't just go from we have the wheel, let's have a sedan. We had to get the wheel to the cart, and to the cart we had a grindstone attached to the back of a mule, and then our wheat got better, and then we had grain that we could store. We had beer that we could drink instead of water that would, well, let's be honest, blow out our insides. We had stable stuff by taking it one baby step at a time, and it doesn't always happen in our lifetime. And maybe that's the difference between a science minded individual and a science denier. The science denier expects their lifetime to matter. A science minded individual knows that your lifetime doesn't matter because we will continue to progress hundreds and hundreds of years later. Not saying you don't matter. Everyone needs to understand that they do matter. They are the only human that is them. But in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to be the superhero. And that's okay. You don't have to be. You don't have to save the world. You don't have to wake up the planet. But what you do have to do is not hold us back. We're morally obligated to make this world a better place simply by the virtue of existing and being granted the ability to not just survive in the wild, being afraid of the dark and huddling around a primitive fire. I can hope that that's not the situation we always find ourselves in, is it's either progress or death, but for right now, it is imperative until we're off this rock that we move forward. And we can't move forward while half a fifth of the United States population doesn't want to get a vaccine because they're afraid because of the science. Or where 600,000 people, last time I checked, were part of a flat earth movement that in turn lead to smaller alcoves of insanity, like space deniers. There's one crazy guy that thinks volcanoes are fake because they look fake, and that everything's fake because insert Satan nonsense here. The point is that we shouldn't be afraid to leave this planet to our next generation. And it's becoming more difficult to do that with every single denial of our advancements. I'm not trying to make a broad statement bashing the flat earth or bashing anti-vaxxers. They kick themselves in the teeth as is. I don't need to. It's fun to, and I will continue in private to make jokes and chuckle and subscribe to other YouTubers that debunk this sort of thing and quite thoroughly enjoy their content. I'll never tell them that they're never going to be better. They always have a chance. All it takes is just accepting the world as it is, doing some math, and looking at the numbers and the research papers of peer-reviewed science. Taking an hour out of your day to learn what the word theory means. Taking an hour out of your day during a long poop session, if you have to understand what trigonometry does for the space community. for the love of God, take 5 minutes to Google what a gradient is for the atmosphere, or what an mRNA vaccine stands for and what it can do. I have friends and family that have been brainwashed by the QAnon movement that came around. Like I mentioned before, I'm from the South, and uh, it's not in the United States, and it's not a pleasant sight to see politicians falling for such a broad denial of simple mathematics. It's not a fun time to watch my brothers and sisters and my brothers, sisters, and siblings in the trans community get picked on and prejudiced against and singled out by laws that really don't have any bearing in the scientific community. They're all based off of some religious belief. And that denial is hurting them. It is going to end up killing some of them. The blood from those kids will rest solely on the hands of these governors and these lawmakers. And if people pass along the woo, the bullshit, the absolute dejected rejection of science, you're adding to that. You're adding to that problem. Every time a person shares and does the unspeakable act of progressing that science denial, you're chipping away at someone's livelihood, someone's life out there. Because while, yes, it might be harmless to you to think the earth is flat, that leads other people to believe wholeheartedly that there's a conspiracy of aliens keeping us locked away, and that in the ancient past there was a set of Martians and Atlanteans fighting. And because of that, there's no need to get universal health care. That weird steps will happen. It might not happen all at once for that one person. But if it happens for a person in power, then there's no way we can fix it. They're in power already, and they've gone insane. All we can do is blame the people that put them there and that put those ideas outward. It's not funny to troll these people and to echo them, because they don't see it as a joke. They see it as confirmation. And the more people that do that, that play along with these deniers, that play along with the anti-vaxxers, even if you don't mean any harm, you're still causing the harm. There are people out there that are being denied health care, life-saving feminine health care, because of someone had a crazy idea and it stuck in the 60s and 70s. There are people out there that are being denied their rights to marry, to vote, to exist as the person they are, because of a whack job that heard a crazy idea and was very impressionable. Science denial is bad in any way, shape, or form. So please, I'm going to let some music play out for the rest of this. I just would like you to take a few minutes, take the remainder time on this video, open up another tab, and Google something that you didn't know. Do you know what a quark is? Do you know how a gluon exists? Do you understand what gravity really is? I didn't before I looked it up. Please do the same. Take some time. Listen to some music. and enjoy learning. I doubt this is actually going to reach any of the flat earthers or science deniers and anti vaxxers out there. But if one person stops, if one person changes their mind, this was worth it. Thank you all for listening. You all have a great day. I'll see you at the end. Thanks again for watching. And like I said, hopefully it all worked out for everybody. If you enjoyed this kind of video, let me know in the comments below and I can make some more like it. I recently got into digital art, so why not? And heck, I'll continue the lore series shortly. Thank you all very much for the patience. Thanks for joining on this ride. And let me know if you have any other requests for topics to cover. Have a great day, enjoy yourself, and be safe.